Our first cookie is the Italian lemon cookie. Now this was born out of an Italian lemon cookie that was first made with almond and it had a vanilla frosting. I'm going to do a lemon cookie with a tangy lemon frosting. And what I love about this cookie, it's sort of like a cross between a cake and a cookie. It has like a tender cake-like texture on the inside, and the tangy lemon on top is just perfect for this style cookie. My in-laws gave me this recipe. My father-in-law loves to bake, and they had originally done it with almond, but this twist on the lemon I really enjoy. It kind of makes for a tangy cookie, and it's a great dessert. So let's get started. I'm going to start with our butter and our sugar. We want the sugar to be completely mixed in with the butter. Okay, we're just going to scrape the sides down a little bit. And now we're ready for our eggs. Okay, put it on low. And we're going to add the eggs one at a time. Now when you add the eggs, it's not going to be completely creamy, and that's okay. You just want to kind of get it going in there. Now once you've done that, then we're going to add our lemon extract. And we're going to have a whole tablespoon of that. Okay, so in that goes. Okay, mix that a little bit more. Once again, we're going to scrape before we put our flour in. Now we're ready for our dry ingredients. We're going to put our baking powder in with our flour. And you can just give that a little bit of a stir to combine them. All right, just a little bit to get it going. Slow, so it doesn't bounce in our face. You can put about half the mixture in. Let that combine a little bit. And we're going to scrape again. And we'll finish off with the rest of our flour. Rest of the flour is in. Okay, again, we're going to start that really slowly, just to sort of get those ingredients binding together. Okay, we're going to increase our speed a bit. And one last time, we're going to get the rest of the flour off the bowl to make sure that it's all in there. Okay, get around the edges. Final mix. And we're ready. Now, this is a sticky dough. It will be sticky. So, you're going to try to get as much as you can off your paddle. Love these spatulas. Okay, we'll just scrape that off. Okay. All right. Now, I like using a big spatula for this part, just to get everything off the bowl. So, you want to just sort of get all this together, combine it all so it's easier to take out of the bowl. So you see how I'm sort of scraping it down into one big lump. Okay. Now, we're going to refrigerate this a little bit so that we can work with it, and then we're coming back. So our dough is all mixed together. Now it's time to get our cookies baking. So what we're first going to do, let's get these on the cookie tray. Now, I like to use this because it helps to make a more uniform cookie, and I've sprayed it with a little bit of cooking spray so it comes out easily. Okay, and this helps us to sort of get the portion correctly. Okay, we're just going to kind of put these on. Let's give that a little more spray. Just less sticks to the bottom when you do it that way. All right, so we're going to continue to get all these on the tray. We're going to start with 12 cookies, and then we're going to get them in the oven. Let's get these popped in the oven. They're going to cook for about 10 to 12 minutes at 375. And while they're cooking, we'll start our lemon glaze. Okay, we're ready for our glaze. We're going to start with our lemon zest. The best way to do lemon zest is with a zester. And I love these little kitchen utensils. You can see that the zest comes off easily, but I just wanted to point out that we're not looking to get the white part of it, the pith part of the lemon. We just want the zest. We'll put a little extra in there since I've already made this ahead. little extra is good. Okay, so confectionery sugar. Now, it has to be sifted. We don't want any lumps, so we've done that ahead of time. And we're adding freshly squeezed lemon juice. Okay, we're going to start mixing that, and let's get our lemon zest in there. Adds a real tang. And all you're going to do is mix this until it's all combined and smooth. This is really the best part of the cookie. You can see it's kind of starting to come together. Now, I'm going to show you something. You see how this is kind of thick? This will make a little bit more of a creamy glaze. If you like a lighter glaze, you just add a little bit more lemon juice. So once you see what the texture is, you can kind of make the call on how you enjoy your cookie with a heavier glaze or a lighter glaze. So this is going to give us a little bit more of a thicker glaze on the cookie. It's finished. I'm going to scrape the sides of the bowl, and we'll check on the recipes that are cooking, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, and they are done. Now here's a test for doneness. They want to be a little bit golden on top, and on the bottom, same thing. Now we're going to let these cool. They have to be completely cooled before we can put our glaze on. So we're going to let those cool for a little bit, and then we'll move to our glaze. Our cookies are cooled and ready to glaze. Okay, so we're going to use a spoon. You want to hold the cookie over the bowl because, as you see, the glaze is going to sort of drip off. Or the excess, I should say. So you want to kind of hold it over the bowl, all right, like so, and have a sheet right next to you, a sheet pan. Now we'll continue to do this until they're all frosted, but first let me point one thing out. If you like, traditionally, Italian cookies have little nonpareils on them. You don't have to use them, but they kind of dress up the cookie a little bit. So we're going to continue to glaze until they're all finished. So the cookies are all glazed. Now we're just going to add these on, our nonpareils. You have to do this while they're wet, incidentally, before they actually congeal. Okay. Now, something I want to point out. These cookies were made when the dough was cold. It was probably refrigerated for about, I would say, an hour. Now, if you do it that way, they're going to come out more round. If you use the dough right after you've made it, they kind of spread out a little more, and you can put the dough in right away, but this will be the end result. They're a little bit bigger of a cookie, which is fine. So you have your cookie that's been at room temperature, and then you have the one that's been refrigerated. They both come out really well, but you always have to check for doneness. Okay, so that's the key. It has to be browned on the bottom. They might cook at different rates, okay? So the colder ones will take a little bit longer, and the ones that you've just made and mixed your batter will be a little shorter. That's why we give you a time range. But the real test is knowing what something looks like when it's supposed to be out of the oven and ready. And here we have the nonpareils, and we have the ones without. Now, one thing I wanted to point out also, we talked about our glaze. This is our thicker glaze with less lemon juice, and this glaze actually has more lemon juice. So if you prefer them with a light lemon glaze, that's the way you go. Or if you want them a little thicker, which I like, you want to use the recipe with less lemon. And you can kind of just look at the glaze and you'll know. It's nice and thick, that's what you're going to get. And if you thin it out with a little bit of lemon juice, it'll be a little bit thinner on the cookie. My favorite cookie recipe. I hope you enjoy, and you have to try this out. They're great for company or just to have in the house. I could do some damage on these cookies.